G'day everyone. It's Wednesday. Didn't do a video yesterday, but took the dog for a walk, a big walk yesterday with a couple of mates. Anyway, I've taken the dog for another walk again this afternoon to where I find all my fat wood, sort of play around, and it's actually the local bushland where I grew up as a kid 30 something years ago. And you know, like my name says on my YouTube channel, Concerned Aussie, I thought this was a fitting moment to sort of bring this up, that right now we're in the middle of school holidays, Wednesday at 2:30 or something in the afternoon, been up here for a couple of hours, and there's not a kid in sight, not a teenager in sight. There's no motorbikes, there's no one riding horses, no one doing anything. We have maybe here a few hundred acres that basically I've got to myself. And where I'm standing right now, when I was a teenager, this was a straight down here that we could do 80-90 kilometers an hour on our trail bikes. No drama. You could drive our bush basher cars down here, and actually where I'm standing used to be a paddock. There was a cleared paddock, just grass that, with all the tracks around it, but the average grass might have been knee height if you're lucky, and you could have just walked in any direction through here. And at any time in those years there would have been anywhere from 10 to 30 people up here, all in different age groups, different friend groups, doing their own thing. Whether you're riding, people used to come up here with their four-wheel drives, their bush bashing cars, motorcycles. You just come up here with your dog. Chicks would bring their horses up here. We'd have 22s and shotguns up here, air rifles, bow and arrows, knives, and the older teenagers would sit up here with bonfires at night time, camp out, getting pissed as, lots of people would have come up here for the first time in their life and got drunk and, found some whatever. There was guys, there's creeks down here we used to go fishing in, had other mates that would be looking for lizards and snakes and all sorts of stuff, so yeah, it was just really fitting that, I've been noticing this for a while, but in the middle of school holidays, no one around. Where are all the kids? They're sitting on their devices, sitting back, watching YouTube, playing games. They're doing everything except being out in the great outdoors. I'm just going to pick up the camera and just pan around and just sort of show you what used to be a open paddock has now just overgrown, and the only people who come up here are 40-something-year-old teenagers who play with knives and make little fires and stuff like that. It's a massive shame. It makes me wonder, who's going to be our next generation of our defense force? Who's going to be fighting our wars? We got a potential adversary in China right now. We've been having little words with them, and we're definitely into the Cold War phase. They've been doing all sorts of nefarious behavior with cyber attacks and spying and all sorts of shit, and then banning our exports, and our politicians and naming them. They've announced that we're spending $200 and something billion on more shit that's not going to be ready till 2040. It's a whole nother subject, but it makes me sort of concerned about who's going to be fighting our next wars, who's going to be our next diggers. Are they going to call on the old guard again? Okay, anyway, I'll just pan this around. My camera work's probably going to suck, but anyway, this was a main straight down here, and as you can see, you'd be lucky doing 30 k's an hour now. This lantana here That's got to be every bit of 8 foot to 10 foot tall. You could walk in a straight line down here before. You could ride your motorbike or drive a car through that. None of this was here. That's my dog Jessie. And then this is looking back up this way. As you, again, just, it's a wall of lantana. And here's a decent sized eucalypt for around here, gum tree. Okay, I'm going to put this back in the... Oh, by the way, this is my setup that I have been using. It's a bodged together tripod with a Dremel tool vise that I've just fashioned on there with a bit of cardboard packing top and bottom, and I just drop the camera down, or my iPad down into it, voila. Okay, not really doing any reviews today, but I do have a couple of little things to show. I'm always going to have a couple of things to show. Both Cold Steel products. One's a Luzon Large. That's one of my favourite folders. 6-inch blade, 6-inch handle. Cheap knife. Australian money wise, probably 70 bucks or thereabouts. But it's got that little secondary lock on it. Some people don't like it. Doesn't bother me. I don't mind it. A bit of extra safety. It's a flipper. But man, this thing just opens so easy. Like, you don't have to flick your wrist or nothing like that. It just deploys. You know, gives you a lot of reach. You know. So anyway, it's not the best steel in the world, of course. Nice knife snobs don't like it. I'm not a knife snob. It's got the 8CR13 MOV steel. It's made in China. But prisoners use sharpened toothpicks and melted plastic to shiv people. So I'm pretty sure 8CR13 is going to do the job anyway. So it's not a bushcrafted knife, you know. It's just a cool knife. Yes, you could use it as self-defense if you lived in a country where you're allowed to defend yourself. The other one is the Raj 2. Some of the guys in the States already know this. Scab from Fireboy's Cutlery. We know he loves these. He used to carry around 2 of them, maybe still does carry 1. There's some other really good videos of, I forget these guys' names. They did an awesome review which twisted my arm and made me get this. They belt the living hell out of it. They throw it heaps of times, and you know, they baton through, you know, an Abrams tank, and it holds up. It's got a little bit of heft to it. Again, I think this is, off the top of my head, would it be a 5-inch, 5.5-inch blade. This is Oz 10A steel, so that's starting to get a bit better. Cool. That could be 6-inch. That could be a 6-inch blade there, unless this is only 5. But yeah, this one's made in Taiwan. That's way better. That's going to be one of our alloys probably very soon, if you look at what's going on overseas. So definitely don't mind giving those guys a bit of money. I got this one. I'm probably not going to belt the hell out of it because I've got fixed blades to do that. But you know, there's plenty of videos on there to watch. Again, this is like, you know, it's got that sort of cookery sort of shape to it. So it's got a decent sort of spine especially for a folder. And it's actually nice, it's a nice flat grind there, so you know, that should chop and slice quite well. By the way, I chose this spot because of the birds. You know, you're probably not much to see, but I noticed it was so quiet. There's, you know, a little bit of traffic in the background, but because there's so little noise, you know, I thought I'd just set up here. You can capture some of the birds. I could show you this straight away that you can hardly ride your motorbike down these days. So I've been walking through here and I've got to literally push my way through the grass, which used to be tracks that you could drive cars on. So okay, I don't think there's too much to say, but okay, that'll do for now. Thanks, see you later.